Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Legendary Leaders. I am your host, Katrina Jameson. I'm the founder of Legend Leaders, where we arm female business leaders with the strategies they need to master the one rule of career success and create and live a life on their terms, a legend life. Have you been having fun creating and defining your legend life, a life on your terms? That's really what this entire month has been about. Although we're calling it No Regrets, right? And no regrets specifically related to the holidays, it really is ultimately about creating and living your legend life. Understanding how to combine career success and maintain that career success or elevate that career success and have security so that you can also have personal enjoyment, fulfillment, happiness, all of the above. You've got to have both. And that's what we help you achieve here at Legend Leaders. And so we've been diving into that because, as I said over and over and over again, and you know it's true, there is no better time, there's no more important time than now, than the holiday season that we're entering into, October, November, December, January, all of these months that have probably at least one holiday that you're going to celebrate inside of there. There's no better time than now to figure out how to have the balance that you define between career success and personal happiness and freedom so that you live a life of no regrets. That's what we're trying to get you. And so we're setting ourselves up for success this holiday season. I'm excited to be able to continue to join you and move you through this process. So this is the third episode in this series of 4. Quick recap on the things that we've already done. If you haven't listened to the first couple of episodes, please go back because this is really not going to make a whole lot of sense. You're going to jump in right in the middle. If you've been following along, you're ready for this. If you haven't, go back and listen, and please get the workbook. I've designed it. It's for you. It is so free. It's 100% free. You don't have to pay anything for it. Just get access to it and use it. Please, I want you to take action. I want no regret holidays for you. All right? No regrets. So, what have we done? Quick recap. We've done a couple of things. Number one, we had to face reality. We had to ask ourselves, where are we right now with our careers? Where are we right now with our personal lives? What's good and what needs to change, right? Then last week, we allowed ourselves to dream. We allowed ourselves to get crystal clear on what we define as an amazing holiday experience for each of the holidays and even birthdays, if you have some that fall within that time frame, that make them a great event, that you're going to look back on whatever that was, Halloween, Thanksgiving, whatever the holiday is, whatever the birthday is, and say, that was great. I seriously couldn't have asked for anything better. That's where we want to be, right? But we can't say, I seriously can't say, right, oh man, that was perfect. That's exactly what I wanted it to be. I can't say that unless I have already defined what that looks like. That's what we did last week. Now, what I already know, because I've done this just a few times, is that probably while you were allowing yourself to dream and you're writing out all these wonderful experiences and pretending that you didn't have a career and that you could just spend 100% of your time trying in your personal life, inherently what happened is that you went, oh crap, I don't know if this is going to work. You started doubting a little bit. You started getting a little fearful. And the reason why is because you were thinking about work, right? You were thinking about your career and you're like, I want X, Y, and Z to happen, but I don't know if it can because I don't know if that's going to be possible with my career, with the timing, with different things that are going to be happening with a project or a team or the unknown, right? This fear of the unknown that might come up or happen at work, and you can't mitigate it because by design it's unknown. But you were fearful. As you sat down and allowed yourself to dream, you started to get a little afraid of screwing up things at work, right? And if that's you, then you're completely normal because it happens to the majority of women that I work with as we go through this process, okay? So don't beat yourself up. It's all right. That's why I'm here. This is what step 3 is all about. We're going to solve for that today. Now, on the other hand, maybe you were just dreaming and you were having fun and you were already singing songs that went with the holidays and thinking about the food and making your list and you were having fun. You were getting into it. And now you're listening to me and you're like, oh crap, no, Katrina, I didn't think about that. Thanks for the fear. It's okay. Don't worry. Either way, whether it stressed you out a little bit, whether it stressed you out a lot, or whether it never crossed your mind until this moment, it's okay. Because what we're going to do is we're going to work through it, right? We cannot spend all of our time in our career to the point that we sacrifice the fulfillment that we want to have personally. At the same time, our careers matter to us. If they didn't, we wouldn't be spending so much time in them, right? And so we can't go and spend all of our time focused on personal fulfillment to the point that we're not developing and maintaining the part of our identity that is our careers. So we've got to have both. We've got to have that balance that, again, you define. You're in charge of the balance. So let's solve for that. What I want you to do is this. The way that you're going to look at your career piece and you're going to seek to understand if this is going to work for you, right? How do I take the personal time and fit it into my career and feel like I'm not putting my career at risk? Is this. This is what you're going to do. You ready? All right. I want you to get your calendar and I want you to look at it for last week or even the week before. You can look at last week or a couple of weeks. I don't care. But if you don't have a lot of time, then only look at 1 week. But what I want you to do is I want you to look at a typical week. So how about I say it that way? Take a look at a typical week. And so if last week was more of an anomaly, maybe you were on vacation a little bit last week or you traveled or there was a large meeting, then don't look at last week. Look at a typical week. And what I want you to do is this. Print out your calendar if you can or write it out. In the workbook, if you've got it, you already know. If you haven't, go grab it. Get the workbook and look at it. I've created a sheet that you can fill out. And what you're going to do is this. You're going to look at every single thing that was on your calendar in that typical week. You're going to look at each piece or you're going to jot it down in the workbook. And you're going to select a category for that appointment or event or whatever it was on your calendar to fall into. Okay? Now, we're only looking at work-related events. We're not looking at personal events that you put on your calendar. We're looking at work-related events. And for each work-related event, you're going to classify them and you're going to put it in one of 3 categories. You're going to look at an event and you're going to ask yourself, was this a value add to the business? In this event, in this time that I spent, was it a value add to the business? If the answer is yes, then you're going to put a V beside it, okay? Value add. If you look at it and it now wasn't necessarily a value add, then was it something that you did to make yourself feel more secure in your career? In other words, the company didn't necessarily ask for you to do it, but by doing the action, you felt better about you. You felt better about your contribution to the organization, okay? If the answer is yes, then I want you to put an S beside it for security. And then last but not least, if you're looking at everything that's on your agenda, it wasn't really a value add, meaning the company didn't ask you to do it, it's not part of your job description, and it's actually not going to make the company better, and it's not going to better serve the customers. All of those things make a value add. Okay, that's how you define value add. If it wasn't that, and you didn't do it just to make yourself feel a bit more secure, right? Like starting work at 7 a.m. The company probably doesn't ask you to start working at 7 a.m., but you did that because it makes you feel better about your career, makes you feel more secure. It's none of those things. Let's say it was at 11 o'clock and you didn't have an appointment, and so you just decided to do research on the internet or something. Didn't add any value, didn't make you feel more secure. Then what I want you to do is I want you to classify that as a filler. Put an F beside it for filler. There are really 3 categories here, okay? So sit down and look at your typical week. The things that really added value. Okay, what adds value? Things like meeting with your team and developing them. Things like being innovative, strategic, right? Going to officer meetings or clear team meetings. Any type of meeting that helps define the strategy, the vision, drives action, moves the business forward. Those are typically value adds. Okay, typically, right? If it was anything that you did that only you or your team could do to contribute to the organization, that's typically a value add. Got it? If you were working late because you decided to work late, if you're working holidays, weekends, whatever, if you're doing things that make you feel better, the company didn't ask you to do it, they're just not telling you not to do it, it's probably a security item. If it's something that you're doing because you're like, I'm at work, I'm at the office, right? Maybe you're at the office or you've got to be on the computer and you got to seem like you're working, but you're not really doing anything other than filling time, that's a filler. That's how you're going to classify it, okay? So take the time to designate each of those things. And then what I want you to do is I want you to look at each category, and I want you to total up the hours that you've spent within each of those 3 classifications. Ultimately, what we hope to see is that the majority of time that you're spending is in value add. We want to see very little time in security or filler, okay? Now, whatever you come up with, though, those are your totals. Again, we're facing reality, so those are your totals. Add everything up, and then reflect. Let's take an honest look at it. How are we spending our time? Could we get some time back such that we don't really need the security filler, right? The security or the filler, either one of those. We can move some things around, like the work we were doing at 7 a.m. could move down to the 11 a.m. filler, and we can move some things around. What about that? What if there are things that we need to do that are value add that we haven't been able to plug into our schedule, that as soon as we start doing more value adds, we don't need to do the security stuff because we are feeling secure. We know we're adding value, which is the point. That's why we exist. And we've moved everything around to the point that we don't have time for filler. We don't need filler. We're just significantly focused on the value add. Then, if you have a schedule that looks and feels that way, are you really going to be concerned, worried, or fearful about screwing anything up at work? Probably not. Because you're confident in what you're doing, how you're doing it, and the way in which you're spending your time to get it done. And that's where we want you to be, okay? So, if I went through that really quickly, and I probably did, get the workbook and take a look at it. It's going to walk you through it. I'll say it over and over and over again because the resource is there for you. There's no reason for you not to get it. And I want you to look at how you're spending your time, and I want you to take your time back so that then you know you're doing the right thing in your career, okay? And then you know you have the extra time now to go and enjoy the dreams and the personal targets and goals that you've created for these holidays. That's how this goes together. Now, as always, if you're looking at this and you're like, Katrina, I don't know that I'm doing a lot of value add. I'm freaking out. How do I make sure I'm doing value add? What do I need to add? What do I need to change? I don't know. Don't panic. We've all been there. You're not alone. You're not the only one, I promise you. Okay? Just send me a Facebook DM that says holidays. Okay? Or send me an email with a subject line, holidays. And let us help you understand how to properly schedule your time. Okay? You can do this. It's doable. You got this. For now, go and get started. Do the exercise. Map out your time. It shouldn't take you very long. Get the clarity that you need, understand how to move the work around and focus on value add, and free up the time that you need to enjoy yourself personally. If you've got any questions, you know how to find me. Reach out. Don't be shy. That's what we're here for. I cannot wait to connect with you next week. It's our last episode right before we hit the first upcoming holiday if you celebrate it, right before Halloween. And so we need to go ahead and knock this out. So do not pause. Go ahead and do the work so you're ready for next week. As always, go and be legendary.